We need to consider the U.S. policy towards Cuba, a communist country with a repressive. What kind of positive, do you have any fingerprints on this? Who was responsible? We even heard the allegations the Russians might be involved, this and that. And so at least from my standpoint, we've got a lot of, well, what happened on this? Because I'm worried about the ambassadors, but I'm more worried about the families and everyone else that can be innocent bystanders or something like this. And a long question. Doctor?
Unique constellation of symptoms and findings, but with no obvious cause. There are a lot of speculation in the media. We prefer not to talk about speculation. All I know is the experts who have examined the patients are doing everything they can to determine, where the injuries occurred, what part of the brain, and what possibly could cause it.
Explain why it took so long for the CDC to get to work on the Cuba health incidents, and why, on the other hand, did the CDC start their work on the confirmed China incident immediately?
Taken time to understand the extent of the symptoms and findings and injuries. Right now, in retrospect, we know what injuries happen to folks, but way back when these things first started appearing, December of 2016, and over the course of the next several months, it wasn't evident at that time.
Should American foreign policy treat Cuba differently than how we treat China, with whom we have over $400 billion in trade going back and forth? And if we should treat Cuba differently than we treat China, why? If not, why not?
I think in our analysis, the case, the situation in China regarding our employees there compared to the situation in Cuba, they are very different. I think we would see them, and Ambassador Bodie can speak to this in greater detail, but I think we see them as sort of apples and oranges. We have 26 cases of people who have very, very similar symptoms, who have very similar effects. It seems to have really been targeted exclusively at our embassy colleagues. Situation in China, to the best of my knowledge, we have one employee who has demonstrated similar symptoms. I don't think our medical experts at this point are prepared to say it is the exact same situation that our colleagues in Cuba have been suggested to.
Refer to the events in Cuba as incidents. Ambassador Merten, was this an incident or an attack? One of the two.
I think the State Department has come to the belief that, Secretary Tillerson came to the belief that what happened in Cuba is an attack because all the information we have seen is that it seems to be targeted specifically at our embassy and one other embassy that we know of, Canada's employees, diplomats.
Ambassador Bodie, incident or attack?
Sorry. State Department's come to the position that they were attacks, sir.
Dr. Rosenbar, an incident or an attack?
I agree with Ambassador Bodie.
Mr. Brown?
I'd put it in the category of attack based on we have 26 injured Americans. Those attacks do not seem to extend outside the diplomatic community.